Hello, guys. This is Rajoshi, and welcome to chapter 2 of the Mindset series. So, today we are going to be talking about the topic which is called big money versus small money. So, let's talk about big money first. So, let's say you start your journey with 2 crore rupees or 2 CR. And let's say you compound that and you put that, let's say, in a Nifty ETF. And let's say Nifty ETF compounds at 15%. Post inflation, you get 15% CAGR. So what happens to your money every 5 years? It doubles. Okay. So 2 crore become 4 crore in, let's say, 5 years time, and 4 crores become 8 crores in the next 5 years. So after 10 years, you make 4 times the money. So 2 crore becomes 8 crore. So think about this. You made a lot of money, right? Why? Because you started with a big amount of money. So your rate of return did not matter to you. Correct? Because you started from 2 crore, right? So this is big money. This is the advantage of big money, that if you have big money, you can aram say put your money behind an ETF, a Nifty, and you can compound without literally like taking a lot of headache in life. Because you start rich. You start with 2 CR, right? Now think about a guy who comes to the market with, let's say, 2 lakhs. Now, that person, let's say the fund manager is the person who has 2 CR. Okay. So what will the fund manager teach the other guy? That of course invest in index fund, invest in Nifty, right? Then that person ka 2 lakhs becomes 8 lakhs in 10 years. What happens in 8 lakhs in 10 years? Nothing, right? So think about this. With the same investment philosophy, one person who started big made it bigger, the other person just didn't understand where he went wrong. So this is the concept with small money. If you have small amount of money and you're starting your journey in the market, you cannot hog the Nifty. You cannot hog, let's say, for example, a person. So I'll give you another example. A 20-year-old today is trying to copy Warren Buffett at 90. Just think about this. Warren Buffett's only job in this world today is to manage. So basically, he gets all his money from insurance, right? He gets insurance premiums and he deploys that. And whatever he gets on free money, it compounds on that huge base, right? So Warren Buffett can invest in, let's say, a Coca-Cola and not make many money on that share for 5 years. He can live on the dividend because of the capital that he put in, right? But let's say you come to the stock market and buy those dividend yield stocks with, let's say, 1 lakh and 2 lakh. Let's say even if your dividend yield is even 10%, you get 10,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees, let's say. Will that change your life in any way? No. So if you start with a small capital base, you cannot do what, let's say, for example, a Warren Buffett is doing at this age. So if you're a 20-year-old, just go back and think what Warren Buffett did when he was 20. So Warren Buffett used to run this partnership called Buffett Partnership. Okay, just see how aggressive he was back in those days. So when you start with a small amount of capital, give that capital a chance to make it big. See, I use the word chance here. I am not saying that there's a guarantee you're going to make it big. Now, how do you do it? Two things. First is you have to make concentrated bets. So let's say if you have 2 lakhs today, right? And then let's say you put that in 2 stocks, just 2 stocks. Okay. 1 lakh each. And let's say one of the stocks become a multi-bagger. Let's say when I say multi-bagger, that means the stock turns, let's say, 10x in 4 years or 10x in 5 years. Then you make some capital, right? You make some money. Then at least your 2 lakhs become, let's say, 10 lakh. At least there is a chance of you building wealth. But if you hog the limelight, right, in a way like, see, I'll tell you a simple story here, right? People don't take these things into consideration. See, if I am a fund manager and I am trying to run a company, I am trying to get more clients, I am trying to create my distribution system across the country, I am going to preach everybody to buy Nifty. Do you understand this? Because it's easier for me to put more focus on growing the business, my business, than, let's say, thinking what my client is going to make 10 years down the line. So he's not doing anything wrong to you. But if you start small and you follow him, the problem is, even after 10 years, you won't even have that money to buy a car. Now, the second logic is, no, I'm going to put money every year and I'm going to compound. Okay, that's another logic I hear. Tell me this. Do you have any control over the returns you're going to make? No. Correct? You don't have any control over the returns. Second, Do you have any idea how long you're going to be on this planet? No. So when people come and tell me, I want a 10% CAGR for 40 years, let's say you do that. Let's say 10%, 40 years, you take it to 1 CR or 2 CR after 40 years. And let's say you start at 25. Dude, you will be 65 by then. You won't even have teeth to like chew an apple. You will probably be carried by a wheelchair by then. What is the whole point of taking it that way? So small money cannot think like big money. All the fund managers with those big money will think like that and they're okay with it. But the problem is their philosophy and their approach cannot be implemented by a person starting his journey with small money. Because small money can become big if the person is doing something that nobody else is doing or very few people are doing. So that's the whole concept of small and big money. One last point I would like to tell you here is, say for example, people will come and tell me, oh, you start with 2 lakhs and let's say you invest in one stock. What happens if that stock goes down, right? Then you take a 20, let's say for example, you buy something. So first good thing about concentrated portfolio with a small amount of money is like, you start with 2 lakhs today, okay? And then let's say the very next quarter, the company comes out with a very bad set of results. You lose 10% or 20%, and then you come out of that stock with 1,70,000. You will come and say, like, see, I took so much of risk, right? One company, that's why I lost 30K. Then you follow that same thing with a second company, then a third company. Eventually, you will get the game right, right? That's point number one. Point number two is when you start small, don't think of protecting that 2 lakh with all your might. I'll tell you the reason. So if you're in a job, let's say, and you're earning 50,000 rupees a month, and you have, let's say, 2 lakhs in your portfolio. If you always think of protecting the 2 lakhs and diversify that into mutual fund, FD, LIC, and like 50, 60, 80, 100 stocks, your 2 lakhs will be always protected. I give you that. But there is absolutely no chance for you to make anything significant from the stock market. It will grow at 10% CAGR. So 2 lakh becomes 4 lakhs in 7 years. What happens with 4 lakhs in 7 years, right? But if you have a small amount of capital, you must give yourself a chance to outperform. For that, you need to have a concentrated portfolio, very concentrated. I say anything less than 5 lakhs, you need to think of 1 to 2 stocks. So if you have 1 to 2 stocks, the other good advantage is if you have to select 1, 2, 3 stocks, right, you will study well as well. That means, let's say if I tell you to put 2 lakhs in 50 stocks, you will not study because you know in the subconsciously, I'm not going to lose the money. So you're not going to learn as well, right? If you put your money in, let's say 1 or 2 stocks, you're going to get up in the middle of the night thinking, is my money good? Is my money safe? And wahan se you start your equity research journey. So when you're starting small and you have diversified, let me tell you, there is absolutely no learning. There is absolutely no losing. There is absolutely no gaining. So you'll be just be using the stock market for the sake of using it because somebody else is doing it. Somebody else told you. Because see, you come to the stock market to think big, to do something significant because the market is like a khazana. Don't treat the market to be like a government job. Okay, like, okay, it's my duty to put SIP every month, 10,000 each. No. Think about the market in a way, like, can you think big? That means, can you think of making 1 CR in the next 5 years? Can you make 1 CR in the next 5 years, starting small with a Nifty index? You cannot. But if you don't think, then you won't learn. So the less you know, the more you will diversify. And then you can come to Twitter, come to LinkedIn and justify the diversification and your ignorance by saying things like, get rich slow, by saying things like, I'm here for 60 years in the market. But do you know whether you're going to be surviving for 60 years? So we have to make it fast, quick. And when I say quick, I'm not saying buy Bitcoin or buy intraday trade. All I'm saying is you have to be an active investor. And concentrated portfolio is the answer. So if you have big money, your job is to protect that big money, right? If you start from 2 CR, there's no point in putting that money in one stock because then if it falls 50%, 1 crore is gone. You might not be able to make that back again. But on the other hand, if you start with 2 lakhs or 1 lakh, and let's say, ek do bet mein, let's say even if you lose 30,000, you can again get back that 30,000, right? But even in a defeat, even in that loss, you learn so many things about market cycle, about the business. Why has the stock gone down, right? There is learning. And I can tell you, you can use that same learning and create multi-baggers in the future with that same stock or with some other stocks. So this is the difference between small and big money. I really see people don't getting the point. So when you look at a big fund manager and he's managing, let's say 20,000 crore and putting that in nifty stocks and like big stocks, like let's say, for example, a Reliance Industries. Okay, I mean, like no stock recommendations here, but if you're putting money there and if you're very small and you think, okay, fine, I'll just put that because he's putting it, understand that you guys are playing a different game. So he's trying to play a protective game, and those game is important. Those games are actually important for people who are trying to grow the business. I mean, I'll tell you this. I don't need to do any equity research if I want to just put my money in HDFC Bank and then I go on acquiring clients. For example, HDFC Bank, TCS, Reliance, HUL. Why do I need to study? Got it? But then, and then I'll tell my clients the same things. Okay, buy these things. These are great companies. I'll tell them the history and everything. Got it? But my clients who are starting small won't have much of a chance because these companies don't have very large addressable markets. They will grow at 10, 12, 15%. But when you're starting small, the stock market is not going to help you at that rate. You're only going to do that when you make concentrated bets to have a chance to make it big. I again use the word chance here. So I hope this makes sense. If you have any doubts, if you want to ask me anything, please respond back in the comment section, of course. And see you again next time.